Hey guys, Frightener22 here, and welcome back to my final day of my 31 Frightening Days of Halloween Marathon. First and foremost, happy Halloween to everybody out in YouTube. As you can see, tonight we're actually going to be taking a look at 1988's Night of the Demons. Now, for the sake of this review, as you can obviously tell, I don't have the DVD next to me because I do not own it. The DVD is currently out of print, and it's actually quite a bitch to find unless you want to fork over like a shitload of cash to somebody on Amazon or eBay. So, luckily for me, it actually popped up on my digital cable's FearNet service, so I was actually lucky enough to check it out for free this month. And the interesting thing about tonight's film selection is that it was actually the first time I've ever viewed Night of the Demons. It had always been a film that I always wanted to check out, and I remember numerous times being at a local FYE with my buddy and him always telling me, you gotta see this movie, you should just blind buy it, you gotta see it. And I remember specifically checking it out a ton of times, holding it in my hand, and then I kept putting it down and saying, next time, and within a month's time, that was like the month that the film was actually going into, it's out of, demand kind of status. It just kind of went, out of print after like that whole month that I was debating getting it. So, I'm kind of kicking myself in the head every day since then. But the verdict for today's review, I loved it. I thought it was awesome. So let's go ahead and get into the plot of this. The nutshell version of the plot deals with, this film takes place on Halloween night, and how fitting for the sake of this review. It takes place on Halloween night, and a group of 10 kids decide to have a Halloween party at an abandoned funeral home. It isn't until one of the kids at the party initiate a seance with the rest of the group, and it awakens demons that actually inhabit this girl, and she begins, offing each of, the other kids in the house, thereby making them demons in turn. So that's basically the plot of it. This film is actually a lot of fun. It's, it captures a really great Halloween spirit and a great Halloween vibe. Everybody in the cast is actually really cool. Probably one of the more familiar faces in the cast would be the great Linnea Quigley from such films as Savage Streets and The Return of the Living Dead. Everybody else is, probably nobody that I, would think would probably, ring a bell for anybody. Although one of the guys in it I actually do remember seeing from 1989's Heathers, which is one of my favorite all-time cult classic films. So that was just another actor. Probably the most notable person in the cast of horror movie fans would be Linnea Quigley. But everybody in this film is actually really cool. I mean, these kids clearly know how to have a good time within only a group of 10 people. I mean, it just really goes to show you that if you want to have a really kick-ass time on Halloween with a limited number of friends, all you really have to do is find an abandoned funeral parlor, steal some food from a Quickie Mart, and just bring one single strobe light. You're looking at one kick-ass Halloween party. So, all that said, I mean, the dialogue in this film is actually, it's really campy and really, really cheeky, but it works so well in this film. I mean, that's really, the spirit and the vibe that this film is going for. So the campy dialogue and the cheekiness just really complements it really well. I really, just got into that whole spirit of, everything. From the opening credits of this film, I already knew that I was in for one hell of a treat, because the opening credits of this film just set such a tone and such, just make such, a stance, such a statement. It's this really cool opening that involves like animation of the abandoned funeral parlor that we're gonna become, really used to seeing throughout the film, and it's this cool like animated sequence that involves like ghosts and demons like flying in and out of the house, which just looks really, really cool, and it has this undeniably awesome 80s synth-esque beat backing up the opening titles. Just kind of like an opening titles song that you would only find in the great 1980s. So after that, I mean, the film just kind of kicks in high speed, and you kind of are getting introduced to all the characters and just seeing all their personalities unravel, which is really cool. I mean, I think for all 10 of the characters, I think that the film did a really good job at just kind of getting into their heads. I mean, you're not really getting into like deep backstories, but you're definitely getting a vibe for each of the characters' personalities, which I thought was, really cool. In a 90-minute runtime, I feel like you got really comfortable with all 10 of these characters, which was just really, really cool. The director of this, Kevin Tenney, many of you guys probably might recall from directing such other films as Witchboard 2, and Pinocchio's Revenge. Now, I'd say I probably go as far as saying that this is probably Tenney's, greatest testament to his film career. I mean, I have seen Witchboard, which I think is a great movie, but I think Night of the Demons is probably, like his undeniable best film, and it's easy to see why. I mean, it's just got, a great plot, it's set on Halloween, and he really captures a really cool Halloween vibe. I mean, you got the costumes, you've got an abandoned funeral parlor, you've got pumpkins, you've got, heavy metal music playing, so it's just, these really great vibes of 1980s and Halloween, and just, a really great, cheeky, campy cast, sporting really great dialogue throughout its entire 90-minute runtime, so I really couldn't have been disappointed with this film with those factors in mind. The demon designs in this film were actually really, really cool. I thought that they looked really solid, and I mean, with the modest budget that they had to make this film, which was $1.2 million, the film looks really stunning, especially when you know that that was the actual budget of the film. The makeup designs look good. I mean, you get the performances that, you would expect and want out of, this cast for this particular project. So on a modest budget like that, I think Kevin Tenney really pulled, like, quite the miracle out and really put his, talent where his mouth is, because this film is just quintessential Halloween viewing, a quintessential Halloween viewing experience, and for this being my first time viewing it, you're getting just a brand new, fresh perspective on the film. It's definitely a win. It's just really, really fun, really campy, and it's hard to see it really disappointing many horror fans that are looking for something a little bit more unique and a little bit more refreshing than your typical Halloween film, a typical Michael Myers film that you would, that many of us have come accustomed to watching on Halloween night. Pop out if you have it, and you can find it, especially with the beauty of FearNet having it on its service for free. Check out 1988's Night of the Demons, because it's certainly a really, really fun movie. For additional viewing, although I haven't seen them, there are actually 2 other sequels to this Night of the Demons 2 and 3. Both I've heard are actually not too bad, but still don't come anywhere near as close as being as good as the original. And as many of you guys may have heard, there's actually a remake on the horizons, which has now been penciled in for a February 2010 release, starring the likes of Monica Keena from Freddy vs. Jason fame, and Edward Furlong from Terminator 2 Judgment Day fame. So I'll be sure to keep my eyes peeled for that and see how that one unrolls. In addition, the remake is actually set to have a cameo appearance from Linnea Quigley from it, so that should always be, a fun time to check out. In addition, I mean, if for not any other reason to see this, I mean, if you have Linnea Quigley in a horror movie, it wouldn't be a Linnea Quigley movie if she did not show, enough skin in the film. So that's exactly what you get in Night of the Demons. So if you're not interested in this film based on whatever else I said, Linnea Quigley showing skin, maybe that, will, spice in your interest in this just a little bit. So, I'd say that wraps up my 31 Frightening Days of Halloween marathon. I'd like to thank all you guys for tuning in this entire month. It has been an incredibly fun, but yet exhausting experience. So, as can be expected, I'm going to be taking, quite a bit of a rest after this. But, although I have to say, the one thing that I will promise you guys within the next day or two after this review goes live, you can expect another DVD update from me, but I swear, after that DVD update, I will be going on at least a 2-week break from YouTube. So once again, I'd like to thank all you guys for tuning in to my 31 Frightening Days of Halloween marathon. It was a blast, and I hope all you guys enjoyed it. Now, if you guys don't mind, it's time for me to go fucking trick-or-treating. So have a good one, guys. Happy Halloween.